And joining us as he does each month here on WHKY TV News is District Attorney Scott Reilly from the 36th Prosecutorial District, and that is Catawba, Burke, and Caldwell counties. And Mr. Reilly, always good to see you.
Thank you very much for having me.
Lots to talk about today, and you want to start off by going over the murder convictions since 2019 in the district.
Right, we just got some numbers back, and I thought it was kind of interesting to show, and also I think that people would want to know. In most of these cases, it can be found on our website, catawbada.com. But for the year 2019, which was the first year that I was the elected DA, we had 20 people were convicted of murder in our district. And this year, 2021, coincidentally, 20 people have been convicted of murder, and we still have the last quarter to go, so that number may rise. Unfortunately, in 2020, which was when COVID completely shut down our court system, we only had 6 murder convictions, and I'm sure those were in the months of January, February, and March before COVID. So that just shows you, what a devastating effect that the COVID had on the criminal justice system, that we had to cancel court and could not get to, trying the cases that we wanted to try. So we're trying to get to those cases. We're not trying to give COVID credit. We'd rather continue a case or maybe have it last a little bit longer, but we still want to get justice for these victims.
We're all trying to find a way to work through this thing, I guess, still to this day. And so with that, that includes, of course, guilty pleas and jury trials, correct?
Exactly. That's a combination of both. People convicted of murder in our district.
Okay. The Nathan Pike case, talk about that.
Right. That was a case of some interest up in Caldwell County. This person was accused of sexually abusing a 12-year-old child, and it was just a very sad case, and a lot of people wanted to know what happened with that. The case was called for trial, but he came in and pled guilty and received the maximum punishment of up to 29 years for sexually abusing a 12-year-old child. Just a very sad case all around. The Supreme Court of North Carolina and our North Carolina Court of Appeals just came out with a number of decisions this past week, and 2 are of interest because they came out of our district. And the first one was the State versus Hilton case, which came out of Catawba County, where Mr. Hilton had been convicted of an aggravated sexual offense. And after he completed his sentence, we brought him back into court for the judge to determine whether or not he would be subject to satellite-based monitoring for up to the rest of his life. And the judge did impose satellite-based monitoring for the rest of his life. Mr. Hilton appealed that and said that he had already served his sentence, and that was an unreasonable punishment. And in fact, he won at the Court of Appeals, and they said that was unreasonable, but thankfully our North Carolina Supreme Court reversed that decision and stated that no, the satellite-based monitoring for an aggravated sex offender, our interest in protecting our public and especially children is paramount, and decided that it was constitutional to impose satellite-based monitoring on a sex offender even after he finished his sentence.
Scott Reilly, our district attorney, joining us here on WHKY TV News, and he will join us again next month. Back to you, Ralph.